Burkina Faso is building a city, but not for the rich. Burkina Faso is quietly building a city. But this isn't a project for elites, investors, or foreign developers. There's no rent, no foreign aid, and no profit margins, just 50,000 free. Homes given directly to the displaced, the homeless, and the forgotten. Why is President Ibrahim Traoré doing this? And how is he pulling it off without the West? It began just outside Ouagadougou, in a neglected stretch of land long considered marginal. Trucks started rolling in. Foundations were poured. Entire road systems emerged almost overnight. No flashy announcements. No ribbon cuttings. Just quiet, synchronized labor engineers, masons, and planners working like clockwork. No one knew what was happening. Who was funding this? Where was the media? Then came the aerial footage leaked, not staged. The world saw the truth. Burkina Faso was building an entire city. And not just any city, a bold experiment in nation-building. At the center of it all stood Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a leader who has consistently defied the rules of African politics. But this time, he wasn't fighting foreign forces. He was confronting something more insidious: internal collapse, the crisis no one talks about. Burkina Faso is experiencing one of the world's fastest-growing internal displacement crises. Over 2 million citizens have been uprooted fleeing jihadists, insurgencies, climate devastation, and the abandonment of rural life. Most of these people end up in makeshift encampments, flimsy shelters built from plastic sheets and wood scraps, scattered around cities unprepared to house them. It's a slow-burning disaster that rarely makes international headlines. Until now. Traoré flipped the script. He didn't treat the displaced as a problem to be managed. He made them the priority. And instead of begging the international community for help, he shut them out entirely. A city from scratch, the first phase includes over 12,000 homes, each with paved roads, power lines, and water systems already in place. These aren't temporary shelters. They're permanent homes, built with care and precision, and they're not isolated on the edges. They are the city. Eyewitnesses who visited early described it not as a construction site, but as a military operation, tightly run, eerily efficient. No foreign contractors, no UN logos. Just local workers, uniformed planners, and rising rows of homes. Modest, yes, but structured, dignified, and intentional. Inside Traoré's administration, officials quietly refer to this effort as a civilian fortification. Because in a region marked by instability, mass displacement, and foreign interference, giving your people land beneath their feet is nothing short of revolutionary. How he's doing it? By keeping the project under wraps. Traoré avoided the usual pitfalls: bloated proposals, foreign donor restrictions, and years of bureaucratic delays. Instead, he turned to military engineering units, local suppliers, and state-owned enterprises, many of whom had never handled projects at this scale before. And they delivered. While critics abroad question the cost and pace, no one can ignore the scale of what's happening. Burkina Faso, once dismissed as aid-dependent, is building a full city from the ground up for people who own nothing. And this is just the beginning. Not aid belonging. Go understand this project's soul. You have to understand its people, and why Traoré is defying the global order for them. Burkina Faso isn't at war with another nation. It's at war with itself. Fractured by armed groups, foreign-backed insurgents, climate collapse, and decades of neglect. Entire villages have been erased. Children have watched their homes burn. Women have given birth in the open, under skies that offered no shelter. Most of the displaced are ordinary people. Farmers, teachers, market vendors, uprooted, unrecognized, internally displaced, not refugees abroad, but stateless in their own country. Now, a quiet decision from above is changing. That they won't be managed, they'll be housed. This isn't just housing. It's a redefinition of citizenship. Residents of Traoré City aren't tenants. They're owners. They're being given deeds, not aid. The selection process goes beyond refugee status. Widows, disabled persons, war veterans, orphaned youth led. Households and undocumented families, people who would be invisible elsewhere, are being prioritized. In most countries. Lack of ID means you're excluded. In Traoré City, identity is verified through local leaders, oral records, and community councils, because displacement isn't just about losing shelter. It's about losing identity. A child who grows up in a tent forgets what home means. A man who can't house his family loses more than pride. He loses purpose. This city is meant to heal that break. It's not a handout. It's a restoration of dignity. A glimpse of Africa's future step into Traoré City. And you won't first notice the buildings. You'll notice the silence. Not emptiness, but systems that work. Solar panels glint under the sun. Pipes run clean beneath paved roads. Digital meters flash inside modest homes. Every component, every brick, wire, and panel was designed not for survival, but for a better life. This isn't a copy of the West. It's a vision of what African cities could be: sovereign, self-sustaining, and smart. Each neighborhood centers around a community core: schools, clinics, food markets, and water stations, all within a 10-minute walk. Accessibility features, ramps, handrails, and mobility pathways aren't add-ons. They're built-in. From day one, the transport system is electric. Solar-charged buses connect homes to workshops, farms, and administration centers. No carbon smog. No gridlock. No outdated infrastructure. And the most radical feature lies underground: green water systems. Subsurface irrigation belts recycle gray water to feed maize, okra, and sorghum, enough to feed the population. In a food-insecure region, this city is designed to feed itself. Materials are locally sourced and low carbon. Bricks are made with compressed earth block tech, no need for massive imports. Window shades are angled to reduce indoor heat. And the internet? Delivered through a public fiber grid, owned by a Burkina telecom, not a Western firm. This isn't by accident. Traoré's team didn't hire foreign consultants. They brought in young Burkina architects, engineers, and scientists, many getting their first major government contracts. And they're reshaping the urban future of Africa. Some are calling it the continent's first truly sovereign smart city. And it's only just begun. The most radical detail isn't in the blueprints. It's in the process. What makes this city revolutionary isn't just how it looks, but how it was born. This city wasn't simply built for the displaced. It was built with them. Before a single wall rose, teams of planners and engineers fanned out across displacement camps. They sat with women, elders, youth, and ex-soldiers. They asked, "What matters most in a home? What have you lost that we must restore? How far should a clinic be from a school? Where should the mosque stand in the market square?" One planner put it simply: "We didn't draw this city on paper. We drew it from memory of what people had before war took it away." This bottom-up philosophy didn't end with construction. It shaped governance too. Each neighborhood will elect its own council, with seats guaranteed for both women and youth. Disputes won't be handled by distant courts alone, but by a hybrid model: local customary law blended with mobile legal clinics and modern norms. Set to patrol every week, this city isn't a replica of Paris or Dubai or any polished Western capital. It's something far rarer. A Burkina blueprint rooted in the daily realities of its people, yet boldly reaching toward the future. Proof that modern doesn't have to mean foreign, and independence doesn't mean isolation. But with this bold rejection of the status quo, a deeper question begins to echo. What does this mean for Africa's place in the global order? A quiet revolution, loud enough to rattle empires behind closed doors in Brussels, Washington, and Paris. Diplomats are whispering, not because they don't understand what's happening in Burkina Faso, but because they do. A sovereign city, rising quietly on West African soil built without Western permission or partnership, is a direct challenge to a global system founded on dependency. This isn't just a housing project. It's a political act. And across the global south, other nations are taking note. They're beginning to ask the once unthinkable. If Burkina Faso can do this, why can't we? No strings, no lenders, no permission. For decades, African development has followed a Western manual. Loans, grants, technical advisors, IMF audits, World Bank conditions, EU checklists. Progress measured not by results, but by compliance. Traoré threw out the manual. There are no international lenders here, no UN logos, no USAID branding, no Western consultants handing down best practices. The city is being built with state funds, local expertise, and African labor without the traditional donor circuit. That's not just unusual. It's dangerous to those who profit from Africa's perpetual state of need. And perhaps that's why the silence from Western capitals has been so deafening. No congratulatory statements, no invitations to innovation forums, no glowing op-eds praising this bold new model. Instead, some media outlets frame Traoré as a rogue populist threatening democracy. Why? Because the model he's building could spread. What if this becomes a movement? Imagine Mali, Niger, Chad, or Nigeria replicate this model. Homes are built without World Bank loans. Solar grids rise without Siemens contracts. People are fed without importing rice from Europe. That would break the logic of the aid economy, that Africa must be managed, not empowered. Traoré city isn't just sovereign, it's developmentally sovereign. That both terrifies and inspires, especially the youth. For many Africans, this isn't just about housing. It's about proof that dignity doesn't require foreign permission, that governments can prioritize the poorest, that leadership means more than speeches. It means bricks, roads, water, and working toilets. And while the West remains mostly silent, others are watching closely. China's state media has subtly praised the project's independence from Western lenders. Russia, already active in Sahel partnerships, sees Traoré as a like-minded regional force. Even Turkey's development agency, TICA, has shown quiet admiration, yet Traoré has aligned with no one. He's made it clear, Burkina Faso will not be someone else's project. And that clarity, unapologetic, neutral, and homegrown, is no longer an anomaly. It's starting to feel like the prototype of a new African politics. A spark across the continent? Can this lone effort ignite a continental shift? Is Traoré just building a city or launching a revolution? Some moments in history redefine what's possible. The civil rights movement had Selma. South Africa had Soweto. And today, perhaps Africa has Traoré City. What began as a housing initiative is evolving into a philosophy, one built on dignity, sovereignty, and revolutionary urbanism. And it's already spreading. In Niger, transitional authorities are reportedly studying Traoré's model. In Mali, military-aligned engineers are quietly surveying sites. In Guinea and the Central African Republic, youth activists are calling for cities of justice for war-affected populations. These aren't copycats. They're reflections of a deeper hunger, a hunger for systems that put people over profit. For too long, African development has followed growth-centric models, roads to connect mines, ports to ship exports, housing to attract investors. This flips that script. This city isn't designed to impress outsiders. It's built to reclaim the lives of people who were never meant to be seen. And most of all, it doesn't wait for global validation. No feasibility study from Europe. No World Bank approval process. No watered-down recommendations. Just action. And that action has created a prototype, a living, breathing proof of concept that Africa can build on its own terms. The new battle. Narrative. Even the media landscape is changing. In the past, projects like this would have been filtered through Western headlines if covered at all. But now, Africans are watching daily progress videos, studying blueprints, and debating urban planning strategies in real time. Urban sovereignty is now a trending phrase among African thinkers. Universities in Lusaka and Kampala are launching student design contests. Radio shows in Accra and Addis Ababa are asking, what would it take to build one here? And the diaspora is paying attention. From African Americans to Afro-Brazilians. Many disillusioned by systemic neglect at home are rallying around this effort. For them, Traoré City isn't just a Burkina story, it's a rebuke of the lie that Africa is forever behind. But will the world let it succeed? Already, whispers of pressure are mounting. Diplomatic resistance, economic threats, closer scrutiny of Burkina Faso's monetary policy, because if more countries reject debt, embrace self-built infrastructure, and prioritize their own poor over foreign capital, what happens to the industries built to control them? This isn't just about housing. It's about proof that homes don't have to be a luxury. Proof that governments can serve the people first. Proof that Africa doesn't have to wait. Because if one city like this can rise on Burkina soil without permission, then 100 more can rise across Africa. With purpose. And if that happens, then maybe Traoré hasn't just built a city. He's built a movement. Now, the question is yours. Would you live in a city built on dignity, not debt? What if every African country started building cities like Traoré's? Who would try to stop them? Let us know in the comments. And if this story moved you, share, and subscribe. We're bringing you stories few dare to tell on Black culture, civilization, history, and the future of African identity. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay tuned.